Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello, so many wonderful people in here today. Can you guys hear me? Connor, hello, hello. How are you guys? Yes, excellent. Okay, because Robbie and I are working on how to make this setup work. So at the end of this, when we're done today, any feedback you want to give me through here or through messages or Discord would be greatly appreciated because we want to make sure that this experience is good for you as well as for me. Here, I'm going to turn this a little bit that way. So, well, Hippie, thank you so much for subscribing again. You'll need to think of what your word for the year is. Part of today's is going to be about setting intentions. And what that means. So anyway, let me first of all introduce myself in case there's anybody in here who's new. My name is Dana. I am Dana's Kitchen, obviously, but today this is our first day of doing some yoga. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a certified yoga teacher. Those of you who are yogis and know what all the certification means. It's a CYT 200. And then the other thing is I'm working on my trauma-informed yoga teaching certification as well. So those are kind of my qualifications for doing this. Haven't done this on stream before, so this will be new to me as it is to you. And I'm so happy to see all of you lovely people in here. You guys are awesome for being here this morning. So thank you. It's 10 a.m. Central Time here. I plan on doing this on Mondays at 10 a.m. And it's as much for my yoga practice as it is for yours. And I wanted to do this because I see so many people doing yoga and they're doing just the physical part of it without doing the actually really important parts of it. Because the physical part of it, called the asanas, are really about helping all the other parts of it. It's about having a healthy balance in life and figuring out what that is. So yoga is really about how do we incorporate mind, body, spirit, and soul into our daily lives. So anyways, feel free. I'm going to try and figure out how I'm going to keep up teaching as well as answering any questions you may have as we go. But I want to set some, you're looking to get back into yoga. It's been a while. I understand it's been that. Good morning, Reps Rocket. Hello. So many of you guys in there. I know Kanar's in there. A lot of you, this username is in here. So Ginger Tea, thank you guys all for showing up this morning for my very first one. I'm going to make some mistakes today, and I'm okay with that. Because anytime you start something new, they're going to make mistakes. And I decided it's better to just get started and do this than rather try and make it perfect. I am a recovering perfectionist, so there's that. This is always good for me and my growth. So first thing is that there are 8 limbs to yoga. We're working on the third limb, which is asana. The first 2 limbs, and we're going to work with those over the weeks as well, are called the yamas and niyamas. And the yamas are a way of relating to other people in the world. So it's kind of an external reflection and way that we work in the outside world. And then the niyamas are an internal look. The first one in the yamas is called ahimsa, which is non-violence. And the reason why I bring that up is I want you to look at your relationship to your body today. And as we go through yoga, yoga can be uncomfortable if we're growing and changing within yoga, but it should not be painful. So if anything that we're doing today is painful, stop. If you can, ask me for modifications. If not, during the class, jot it down to ask me about it later, and we can make modifications to it and just do something different. You do not have to be doing the same thing that I am doing. If you go to those yoga classes and everybody is doing exactly the same thing all the time, to me, that's not one that's fostering personal growth necessarily. That's more about the teacher and less about the students. Oh my goodness. Dar, thank you so much for the subscription again. You need to think about your word too and make sure you send that to me and what your word for the year is, because for every subscription, I'm going to be painting rocks. I haven't gotten to that yet. That's today's job, work. And putting your name on one side, your word for the year on the other side. And at the end of the month, I put them in my garden so I can look at all the lovely people and all of their words for the year. My word for the year is health. Toga. You could wear a toga, it's fine. But no, let's try not to troll today during the middle of yoga. I would really appreciate that. So let's see here. I didn't expect to be close to a hype train in the middle of yoga, to be honest with you, at 10 a.m. on a Monday morning. So you're done with your trolling. Excellent. Thank you, Darth. So as we're doing this, remember that non-harming, we're not trying to harm ourselves. Pay just attention to where you're feeling things. Is there a place in your body that's more tight? Is there a place in your body that needs a little more love and that we need to work on? And you may not feel things. I'm going to talk about where you may be feeling things. You're feeling it someplace else, then that's your body. Keep in mind with yoga too that no matter how much you practice yoga, no matter what your body type is, all of our bodies are very, very different. So there may be some poses that you're just never going to be able to do, and that's okay too. I don't have very long arms, so some of the things that require long arms, I can't really do, and that's okay with me too. So there's that sense of acceptance. It's the first time you can catch a stream and not be heading to sleep. It's good that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. A calm train. Yes, exactly. Can we change that? Is there a way to do that? Let's have a calm train. So some things, yama niyama, things I can look up. Yes, I actually have in Discord, I have a yoga info. I'm probably going to change the name to it, but I wanted to get something up and in Discord. And that's a place where we can have discussions. And if you have questions about anything that you think other people might actually be interested in, I would love for you to put that there. If you have a more personal question, feel free to message me through Discord or Twitch or any of the social medias that I have, because I understand that sometimes people don't want certain questions. They're like, I don't want people to know I asked that question. That's okay. So yes, only the law has long arms. Yes. So hop in there if you want to at the Discord to start that. I'll give niyamas. It's Niyamas. So yama, yamas, niyamas, niyamas. So again, yamas are about how we treat others in the world. Niyamas are about our own self-discipline. But we're going to take that first word in the yamas, nonviolence, and apply that to yoga. You should never be doing harm. Also keep in mind that while you may have been able to do something even yesterday in yoga, today just may not be the day that's going to happen, and that's okay too. That is one of the hardest things for me. When I first started yoga, and I first started yoga when I was about 18, 19 years old, when I was in college. So that was a long time ago because that was in the 80s. It was all about the physical part for me. So when they're like, if this hurts, don't do it. And I'd be like, well, it hurts, but I'm going to keep doing it because everybody else is now. And I think that's one of the nice things about Twitch is that you're going to practice your own practice. You're not going to be comparing yourself to what somebody else, someplace else is doing. And please don't compare yourself to me. And feel free, if you don't get something, ask me. And I'm going to try and figure out how do I talk you guys through this while still paying attention to chat, kind of like my first cooking stream when I was like cooking, and then I'd be like, oh, I've totally ignored chat. Okay, I should probably look at them. I'll try to do a little bit better job of that today. Okay, some things, props. Important props or props that you may want to have with you. I use a rolled up blanket. This is what I'm sitting on right now. These are really great because you can get them online for pretty cheap. And they wash up really well and become really nice and soft. And I roll mine up to like this to sit on a lot of times. Okay, and what that helps is if you've got tight hips. So if you're sitting there, we're going to be going into this. It's called Easy Pose. I've got another camera angle. hang on, let's see here. That one's not gonna help. I'll have to move back for you guys. But just like it's easy, it's called easy pose or Sukhasana. So think of crisscross applesauce, except we're not going to like cross our legs over. One leg will be in front of the other. If your hips, you find your legs are way up here or way down here. I'm gonna move back a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Oops. I just punched a bunch of stuff. Hang on. That was my... See? Already not perfect. Okay. And I may have to move this camera, but this kind of pose right here, okay? If your knees are way up here, which if your hips are tight, they will totally be that way. Wait a minute, you're over here. Either put something underneath your knees, or you can sit on a blanket that lifts our body up a little bit, and then our hips aren't so tight. Gives it a little bit more room for our hips to move. My hips are a little tight. I've been working to try and work on that. Good morning, Kelsey. It's good to see you. Kelsey is my daughter, for those of you who don't know. So use what props you need to so that you can sit in a really comfortable position. You can use pillows. I would say use a firm pillow. You could use a bolster if you want to. Other things that you may want to have today, I don't think I'm going to really need much of anything with a block today, but if you've got something like a block or, I don't know, something else you might be able to use in your house. And you're not too late, Sherry. I'm just kind of explaining how to get started here. Welcome in. And then you want a strap. So there's a couple different things. If you've got some of these, a lot of people have these stretchy things. You can use that. We'll use that, have that nearby. If you don't have it today, that's okay. We've got other ways you can do those exercises. This one I like because it's got little loops everywhere in it. And then a very standard, where did my regular one go? I tried to have everything right here. Well, it moved. Kanara, you have a question. What is your question? Hang on. Here I come. Yeah, we're going to have to work on camera angles here. Can't sit on the floor or cross-legged. Chair is absolutely okay. And when you're sitting in a chair, that was where I was going to next, but thank you for bringing that up, because I know there's a couple of people in here who told me they may be sitting in chairs. So you're going to sit in a chair, and you're going to sit in a comfortable position. We don't want anything too squishy, so don't get in that really comfortable chair you sit in and read. Get in a chair that's steady, number one. We don't want like a real wobbly chair, and you want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor, because part of this is grounding, so we want to make sure that we can feel the ground underneath either our sit bones or underneath our feet as we're sitting. So the loopy one is called the yoga. No, the loopy one is one, I don't remember what this one is actually called. It's my favorite one. A yoga strap is made out of the same material, but it's just one long thing, and it has like a buckle kind of thing at the end. And that's more for if we ever do something like restorative yoga, we might use something like that. But this one is Stretch Out by DKSA. So that's what that one is. But you don't have to get fancy. You don't have to get fancy with your straps. I just happen to have a lot of stuff because I've been doing stuff like this for a while. You can absolutely use a towel. That is a great idea, Bravewood Beanery. A lot of people use a towel. The best size towel are usually those, kind of hand towels that are a little longer, not the little fingertip short ones, but those other ones. So a towel is a great use if you don't have a strap. If you're sitting in a chair, you probably aren't going to, you might want a strap, but you probably won't need one. Today is really about just feeling our body. Okay, so we're going to spend probably everything on the floor or on the chair if you're doing this in the chair. If you're even sitting at the office, I know a couple of you might be at the office, you can do some of these things just sitting in your chair. And it's always good if you sit in your chair a lot to do a few things, like get up and get your body moving every once in a while. So there you go, Miss Sarah Lynn. The strap would be easier for you to stay stabilized. Absolutely. So find what works for you. I don't have all the answers over here. You know your body much better than I know your body because I don't know your body at all. Um, and if it helps you do a pose, if it helps you stretch, if it feels good to you, then do it. If you feel pain, stop doing it. You should feel a little uncomfortable sometimes. If you have some major medical issues, make sure you talk with your doctor about any positions or things that you shouldn't be doing. Okay, so are we ready? Is everybody found a comfortable pose for themselves? I need to, let's see here, what do we need to do here to make this so you guys can see me a little better? I need to go to this, and I'm gonna move out here as I crawl around on the ground, and I actually need to get my sequence so I don't forget to do anything. So thank you guys for having patience with me as I figure out what I'm doing while I'm streaming yoga. Okay, so we're gonna sit in that easy pose. If you're sitting on the chair, just sit in a comfortable position. Make sure that you're stabilized on your seat part. If you are on the ground, if you can feel those sit bones underneath you, sometimes some of us may need to move some padding around to feel that. And we want to feel like we're grounded, okay? Now take your shoulders and roll them back, and you should be sitting here. And I am seeing, Robbie and I were worried, can I read chat from where I am? And it's going to be challenging to read stuff from here. So I'm going to put this on my phone real quick so I can have a place to look and see if you guys. So while I'm doing that, what I want you to do is I want you to put one hand on your abdomen and one hand on your chest, and I want you to just breathe and notice what happens to your hands as you're breathing. You can close your eyes if you want to and just breathe. I'll tell you when you need to open your eyes again. Which hand do you feel is moving? Is it the hand up on your chest? Is it the hand on your stomach? If it's the hand on your chest, you're probably breathing very shallow. And in yoga, we want to try and focus on that belly breath. So now take the next few steps and see if you can breathe in really deeply and feel that bottom hand move more than the top move on there. While I try to figure out how to see you guys on here. Chest, both. If a bird's trying to join you in yoga, bird yoga, that's what you do. Okay. Okay, so take a deep breath. You are going to feel a little movement probably in your chest, even if you're belly breathing, but we really want to focus on, as we're breathing through yoga, take a moment every once in a while. Where are you breathing? Take those deep breaths. And let's start with a community breath. So we're going to take our arms here and we're going to breathe in, take a deep breath in, and then out through your mouth. And then a deep breath in, and a deep breath out through your mouth. All right, let's warm up our neck. We're going to kind of work our way down the body as we work things. And so we're going to start with some neck rolls, okay? Well, we're going to start by warming up our neck and start there. So the first thing is I want you to just turn and look at your left shoulder. And turn it until you just feel a little tension. Again, we don't want to overdo it. We're not warm yet. Now turn and face the other shoulder. Okay, come back to center. Drop your chin to your chest. And bring it back up. Now we're going to drop our right ear to our right shoulder. And now we're going to look at that shoulder. Turn your head gently to look at the shoulder. And come back with your ear to the shoulder. And now take your chin and swipe and take a look at your other shoulder. And then come back. And then return to center. Now we're going to take our left ear and drop it to our left shoulder. And I have a microphone, so you may hear some crackling on my end over here. Okay. Turn and look at your left shoulder. Come back up. Okay. And now we're going to take a look over at our right shoulder. And bring that ear back to your shoulder, and then come back to center. Okay. Next, we're going to just roll those shoulders back again. So just remember to do that. Our spine moves in a lot of different directions, so we're going to warm up our spine here, okay? So the first thing is we're going to take that deep breath in and bring our hands up. And now drop your right hand and stretch over. This is not about turning this way, okay? This is about reaching, like you're reaching to the corner where the wall meets the ceiling. And you should feel a big stretch down your left side. And take a couple of deep breaths here, focusing on trying to fill that belly up. Now, just turn your body gently. If you're in a chair, you can hold on to the chair and do this with the stretching. And I need to remember to give you guys some cues here. Now, just turn. Can you turn and look at the floor? And feel that stretch change just slightly in your back. All right, come back up and all the way to center. Now we're going to drop our left hand. If you're on a chair, again, hold on to the chair. And then stretch. Like you're trying to reach that corner where the wall and the ceiling meet. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Now turn and face the floor. Then come back up. And we'll come back to center. Okay. Now we're going to do some gentle twists. If you have some back issues, be very, very careful with these. Don't do them if they hurt for you. We're going to go first by starting and turning to our left. So take your left arm and put it behind you if you're on a chair. Do the best that you can wherever you can put that hand, okay? And we're going to take our left hand, we're going to put it on our knee over here if you can reach that, and then we're just going to gently twist. Don't do a big twist. Again, we're not warm yet. So there are huge twists in yoga, but not at the beginning when we're not warm. And look over that right shoulder. And again, breathe in. And as you breathe in, think about stretching your spine. Think of stretching your head towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, maybe you want to turn just a little bit more. Okay, bring your head back to the center and now untwist, and we're going to go the other way. So now we're going to go to our left. So you're going to take your left hand, you're going to put it behind you, and you're going to take your right hand, you're going to place that on your knee or someplace near your knee, and then you're going to take a deep breath, and then you're going to twist. And as you exhale, you're going to twist a little more, and also turn your head towards your shoulder. So you're looking at your left shoulder. Breathe in and stretch up a little. Exhale, maybe twist a little further. Turn your head back to the center, and now the rest of your body back to the center. How long do you hold these stretches? Because you keep buffering in the middle of one. Take, a good 2, 3, 4 breaths wherever you feel, whenever you feel good. It just kind of depends on how much time. Here, it's around 4 to 5 breaths in each pose. It's not a specific time period for each of them. But that's a really good question. So when you're doing any kind of hatha poses in the stretches, about a good 4 to 5 breaths is good in it. If you feel like I could stay here a little bit longer, then do it. It's all about where you feel your body is on there. Okay, so now we have done our spine to the side, because it moves this way, our spine moves this way. Now we want to stretch the front and back of our spine, okay? So we're going to do what's called a cat and a cow in this seated position here. And so all that is a cow is we breathe in and we come up, so we're stretching our chest upward, okay? And you're maybe tipping your head back just a little bit, but roll your shoulders back and then push your chest forward, and that's cat. And then cow is an exhale. I'm sorry, the other way around. That was a cow, this is a cat. As we stretch backwards. And again, we're not trying to be big about this yet because we're still just warming up our body. We're warming up the front and the back of our spine. So do a few of those at your own pace. And if you feel like breathing the other direction, that's okay too. It's a whole different thing. But I usually like to start off in my mornings of breathing in as I go forward and as I go backwards. Exhaling, that's the word. Inhale as we go forward, exhaling as we go backwards. So do 3, 4 of those. Okay. So now we've warmed up all the different ways that our back moves. Now let's put them all together and just gently do some small circles in one direction at your own pace. Making sure that you're breathing, always breathing in yoga. We don't hold our breath in yoga. And you can make these as little as you want. They can be this big. They can be really big. You can get your neck in there if you want to, but do it gently so you can move all around. And now let's switch directions and go the other way. Are you guys feeling that lower back, a little of your hips starting to wake up? I love doing just this series of stretches in the morning because then my body feels more awake. I've got, blood running through my body. It's all good. What do you do if a puppy is whining in your face? I mean, that's the thing about doing it at home. I got rid of Rocky for the day, but Otis kept sitting on the mat while I was trying to get ready this morning. So you do the best with your dogs. You teach them how to do yoga with you. That's what you do. Okay, now let's do some shoulder warm-ups. Let's just roll our shoulders in one direction. Our shoulders are amazing. They do so many things. They move in so many directions, right? Now reverse and go the other direction. Make them as big as you want. And again, just pay attention. What is my body telling me? Where do I feel this? All right, now we're going to give ourselves a big hug. So we're going to stretch out our arms. And then you're going to put your left hand over your right and give yourself a big hug. See if you can hold your shoulders. If you can't, that's fine. If you got to get the elbows, that's fine. Wherever you can put that. And just give yourself a big stretch. If you need a little more stretch, you can take that bottom arm and kind of push the top arm up a little bit. And take a couple of deep breaths here. Okay, we're gonna take those arms and go wide again, and then we're gonna switch. And enjoy the hug. And you know, we all should be getting 20-second hugs a day. A couple of those a day. It makes a big difference. It actually releases some hormones into our body that say that we're safe. So hug yourself and go find other people to hug, preferably not strangers. Okay, we're going to do this again. You can stay and do what you just did. If you want to stretch your shoulders a little more, we're going to do what's called eagle arms. Okay, and so you're going to put that left arm over the top and twist your arms around like that. Or some people prefer to just cross them this way. And you don't have to touch, they can be this way, but you'll feel a big stretch across your shoulder. But if that's not possible for you, just give yourself a big hug again. There's nothing wrong with having extra hugs from yourself. And take a couple of breaths here. Still feel like you need some more, you can tip your arms out or lift your elbows. That'll give you a little more stretch through the shoulders. This is one of my favorite stretches right here. But I'll tell you that after having not done yoga for a couple of years, when I started to do it again, I could not twist my arms like that. All right, we're going to stretch our arms back out. Now we're going to do it the other direction. And take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, stretch your arms back out and come down. Now, one of the things, if you're doing this on your own at any point, anytime you're doing a posture, you want to do what's called a counter posture. So that's why when we're all in like this, I want us to get wide again. Or if we go forward and stretch our spine this way, we want to stretch our spine that way. Or if we go this way, we go that way. Does that make sense? So that helps keep us in balance with what we're doing. All right, one thing we neglect a lot are our wrists and our ankles. We're going to get to our ankles in a second, but just take a second and roll your wrist one way. Let's get a little bit of blood flowing in there. Twist them the other way. If you're on the ground, if you're on the chair, just do this gently on your knees and get on the backs of your hands. If you're on, you can do it on your knees even if you're sitting on the floor, or you can put them against the floor and give yourself a little stretch. Don't overstretch it, just till you can feel it. And now do it the other way. Put the heels of your hands down. Is that what you call that? Do you call that part the heel of your hand? I don't know. And you can put that on there and push through that part. Okay. And then shake your wrist out. All right, the next pose we're going to go to, and if you're sitting in a chair, you're going to stay exactly where you are. Make sure your feet are rooted in the floor. You can stay on your blanket if you want to. We're going to go into what's called staff pose or Tadasana. So we're going to stretch our feet out in front of us, and hopefully the front of my feet aren't too dirty here. And so we're going to start by doing this. If you are in the chair, just start. Well, actually, we're all going to start just rolling our ankles. And like I said, today we'll get into more flowy stuff as we go along, but I really want us to pay attention to where our body is as we start this new year. And as we start doing yoga, whether it's our first time doing yoga or our second time doing yoga, or we've been doing yoga for years, I want us to stop and really pay attention to where our body is. My body's in a much different place now at the age of 54 than it was when I started yoga at, 19. So let's see here. We've got some questions. Hi, Espy. Happy New Year to you too. I'm going to be doing this I'm just going to be doing this on Mondays for the time being. And as we go along, if people are really interested into it, I'll see how I can fix it into my schedule, as streaming is not the job that pays the bills right now. So um, as a licensed marriage and family therapist, I've got that going for me too. Okay, so we've got that. And if this is hard, now notice where you are. As you are standing here, are your knees hurting? Is it really, really tight in here? You may need to sit on a blanket and get yourself up a little bit off of the floor. That takes some of the stress off of our hip flexors. And keep in mind, everything in our body is connected. Everything in our body is connected. You can also bend your knees a little bit and put a blanket under your knees. That will also take some of the stress off of your hip flexors and off of all of these muscles here, okay? So do that if you need to. All right, don't try to push yourself through something that is painful or that hurts, okay? Do what you can. Do what you can. And you'll find that as you keep doing that and you keep doing what you can, you're going to get better at it. Okay. So, the next thing, let's warm our knees up just a little bit as well, okay? So I want you to lift a leg. If you're in a chair, just gently kick it kind of forward in the chair and then bend it up towards you. Are you feeling it anywhere? You may not. There are some poses that other people are like, oh, this is so painful. And I'm like, I don't feel it at all. And then there's some that everybody's like, this is easy. And I'm like, I cannot do that. Everybody's body is different. All right, we're going to put that back. We're going to lift that other one. We're going to bring that back. And I want you to just do this a couple of times on each side at your own pace. And as you're doing it, also now, because I know you forgot about your breathing right there, now think about the breathing part as you're doing it. What feels good while I'm breathing and doing this? See, I didn't even do it right. Lift it up, bend it in. This is also helping us start to warm up our hips as well. I can tell you I can feel this down. Everything is tight down the right side of my leg. One side's going to feel easier too. Unless you're very different from me, which you could be. Doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to go the other direction again. And then put it down. You may hear my knees making all sorts of noise. Yoga, ASMR, right? Okay, so now that we've got that warmed up just a little bit, we're going to start moving into our hips, okay? Some people can get their feet directly together like that. When I do that, I tend to exacerbate an issue that I already have with my feet, which is I turn in. So I keep my feet a little further apart. This may be a good time for a strap, okay? If you are in a chair, you may want to get that strap or blanket and put it underneath your feet like this. And hold this, and what we're going to do is we're going to sit straight up. I want you to think about there's a string attached to the top of your head that's attached to the ceiling, okay? And it's pulling you up. And then somebody is pulling the back of your shirt down, so your shoulders are going down your back, okay? And you are rooted into the floor. And now I want you to take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, I want you to fold forward. And I want you to fold forward without rounding your back, however far that is. Again, if you need to bend your knees some to get down a little bit further, that's okay. If you don't need a strap and you can grab your feet, that's fine. And once you've gotten to that point where you cannot go any further with your straight back, then you can round over for a second. And I'm going to jump up here. I want you to take 4 or 5 deep breaths as you're doing that. Okay, excellent. Okay, and after you've taken those 4 or 5 deep breaths, I want you to straighten your back up and see if you can come up that way. If you can't, If that is painful for you, I want you to gently roll up. I want you to think about every vertebrae one at a time is coming back up. As a matter of fact, let's do that again and make sure when we come up that we do round up that way, because that's a good way to start understanding the articulation in our spine and to warm that spine up again in words. Words are sometimes hard. So let's do that again, okay, everybody? We're going to sit straight up. We're going to take a deep breath in. There's a string being pulled from the top of your head. Somebody's pulling down the back of your shirt to keep your shoulders down. And you're going to hinge as much as you can at the waist to come down to your feet. And you're going to round down when you've gone as far as you can go. And you're going to take 3 or 4 deep breaths here. And now, since we've been practicing that belly breath, as you exhale, I want you to try and think of exhaling through your nose. So we're inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our nose. And on your next exhale, I want you to feel like slowly, see if you can feel each of those vertebrae, like you're gently peeling yourself up to lean up against a wall. Yeah. All right. So that is called Tadasana, or staff pose. Let's see here. Yes, it's nice. I know I'm not going to get to see every single thing that everybody writes on here, or to say thank you for all of the follows as we go through yoga, to not interrupt kind of the flow that we're doing here. So I'll figure out how to do all of this better as we go along. So we're going to start. The next thing we're going to do is called Janu Sirsasana. These are very challenging to say sometimes, which just means head to knee. So if you are on the floor, take one leg out just a little bit and bring one leg in. If you are on a chair and you can, bring one leg up. If you cannot do that, it's okay. Just stay right where you are. Okay? And I'll talk you through this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go forward and we're going to try and touch our head to our knee. It's okay if you don't touch your head to your knee. Don't worry about it. That's not a big deal. But it's to kind of move our spine in a different direction and get it moving up and down. So we're going to take this, and again, we're going to stretch. We want to kind of have a straight back as we go down, and then we want to go ahead and let our body relax into the pose. But first, keep your back straight and then come down. And can you get that head to your knee? You can use your arms a little bit, but again, we're doing very gentle yoga, so we're not trying to bully our way into a position. We want to gently allow our body to learn how to go to that position as it. So let's do that to your right leg. If you're not on your right leg because you're already doing it, that's okay. And take a couple of deep breaths there. If you're in a chair and you can't get your leg up to do the one leg, that's okay. Just go towards one leg and try to go down to the side. Does that make sense? So you're sitting like this and just turn your body a little bit to go over that leg. Okay? And notice what your body needs. My hips have a tendency to turn out because I used to dance, and so they very easily turn out. And we're trying to strengthen, I know in my own personal practice, trying to strengthen some of the other muscles that get underutilized. So for me, I try to keep my foot turned inwards as I'm doing this. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel a stretch up the back of my hip on the opposite side. All right, so come on back up. And let's go to the other side. Let's switch. And again, there's deeper ways to do this, and we'll get to those later as we keep practicing on our own. But today, pay attention to what your body needs, right? All right, so now that we've got that leg out, we're going to turn towards it. Again, I am straight. My head is being pulled towards the ceiling. I feel rooted into the ground. I've turned towards that leg, and I'm going to hinge my hips towards it until I can't anymore, and then I'm going to round down. And I'm going to take several deep breaths here. And then we're going to come back up. Is it okay to do this every day? Absolutely. I do this when my yoga practice is in a good place. In the morning, I journal, I meditate, and then I do this. I do about 15 to 30 minutes of yoga stretching every single morning. Will I keeping the video up? Yes, absolutely. And hopefully they'll be a little more flowy as we go along as well. But this is my first time, so I'm giving myself a lot of self-compassion and grace as we go through this and as I learn how to do this along with you guys. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is called I can never say these words the first time around. I have to practice. It's like you got to get your mouth ready to say them. Upavista Konasana, which is just a wide leg straddle. And that's one of the, so we're going to do a wide leg straddle like this. Okay, if you're in a chair, just move your legs apart from one another to whatever's a comfortable position in the chair. Okay, if you're on the ground, go out. If you're on the ground, once you get to this point, I want you to stick your hands behind you, and I want you to just move yourself up. Now, modifications for this. If you are on the ground and you're like, my hips, ow, ow, my hips. Okay, stop. Put a blanket or a pillow or something right underneath your butt so that you get some of that tension off of it. You can't do it right now. That's okay. That's okay. That's why the video is going to be up, because you can take this video and go, okay, wait a minute. What else do I need to practice? Let me see what in here, what was she saying about this? And I want to keep the videos up for that. And they'll be, once they're off of Twitch, they'll be on YouTube. So we're going to do this. Now, there's several different ways. And you can also, by the way, put towels or blankets underneath your knees. So don't stretch your legs out like this if it hurts and it's tight. You can just bend those knees a little bit, and that will take the pressure off of certain muscle groups so that you can actually do this. Some people like to use a block out in front as they come down to give them some help. And you guys can't even see that, can you? I have to figure my cameras out for next time. Okay, so putting that block out, and then you can hinge forward with that. Some people don't need the block. You could even put a bolster out there. I know that some people like to put this out here to support their body. If you are on the chair, just go down as far as you can, and if you need to use your legs to hold you up and give you a little help in that area, that's fine too. So do what feels good. All we're trying to do here is we're trying to get some work in through our hips and our lower back, and most of us are probably going to feel this in our inner thighs as well. If you're feeling it a lot behind your knees, make sure you bend your knees and give them some support. We don't want to do that. Keep your feet flexed for now. Unless that's too painful, you can point them, but try to think about flexing them. Let's see if we can get to that. Okay, so now we're going to come forward. I'm always amazed by those people who just go flop and they're on the floor. I cannot do that, but I can get to about here. And when you get down there, I'm going to try and concentrate on keeping my feet flexed As I breathe through my belly, are your shoulders up to your ears? If they are, try to slide those down. And take some deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. Okay, walk yourself back up. Now we're going to do what's called revolved head to knee. So it's sort of the same thing, except we're going to stay in this straddle here. And again, if you're in a chair, stay there. And what we're going to do, let me show you what we're going to do before we do it, okay? We're going to take our hand and put it on the inside as we put one hand up. And we're going to slide that down our leg as we turn. Now, if you're in a chair, you're not going to be able to do that so much. You can put your hand here on the inside of your leg and just turn and go where you want. You can keep your hand up like this. You can put it on the back. If all of that is still too much for you, it's okay to put it down here. You're going to get a bigger stretch through your side when you do this. Okay, and always remember, whenever I'm talking about like turning over, I'm not talking about doing this. It's always about trying to keep your ribs and your spine lengthened while you also do this. I want you to more lengthen than I want you to turn. Does that make sense? Then I want you to flex around that, okay? So we're gonna go to our right first, and we're going to slide our hand down. And again, put your left arm wherever it feels comfortable on your shoulder, or you can stretch it. If you want a little bit more stretch, you can push that elbow into your leg. Make sure you're not pushing it right into the knee joint. So you may need to bring it up a little bit so you can push it into your thigh if you want to get a little more turning. I can tell I haven't done this enough because I can really, really feel that in my hip and down my spine. Now, while you're there, you stay there. I'm going to talk for a second. Are you lifting that left hip up, that left glute up off of the floor? If you're lifting that up, can you drop it? Can you relax that left leg a little more? Are you breathing? Are you breathing into your belly? Okay. All right, now gently bring yourself back up to the center. And we got to go do the other side because we don't want to leave you unbalanced, right? That was surprisingly hard on your knees. Which part? Was it the stretching forward is hard on your knees? If it's hard on your knees, bend them more. You can have your legs bent like this and then don't go as far, right? So put something underneath your knees to support them. If you're finding that any of this is hard on your knees, make sure next time you do this, you get some towels and roll them up and put them under your knees. That gives your knees some support. It will take off some of the tension behind your knees. The forward, yeah. All right, let's go the other direction now. We're gonna slide that left hand down the side. You're gonna rotate and stretch your arm or keep it on your neck, wherever it feels good to you. Remember to breathe. Are you breathing? I just realized I wasn't breathing. And then come back up to center. Now we're going to go forward again. So Bravewood, you said that was hard on your knees. Bend your knees a little bit. If you've got extra towels there, you might want to put the towels underneath there, or maybe you need to shorten your stance a little bit and not be out so wide right now. And all of that's okay. Okay, so now we're going to fold forward. You are already lopsided. We're all lopsided, lady. Be fair. And then roll back up. All right, now bring your knees in, bring your feet in, shake it out. That's always hard work right there. Anytime you need to stop and do this, you need to shake out. I like to do this sometimes. I'm like, ooh, yeah, that feels good on those muscles I just used. And that's good too. Always good stuff. Again, you know your body better than me because I haven't met you. So, and even if I'd met you, you would still know your body better than I would. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some sitting twist. I find these super challenging for me. I used to love them when I was younger, but as I get older, they're a little more challenging. If you are sitting in a chair, you're going to be doing twist again in the chair. And this time, when you're thinking of doing the twist, see if you can really focus on breathing in is stretching up, and then exhaling is twisting a little bit more. Can you get a little bit further in that twist today? We don't want you to go away feeling so sore that you don't come back and do yoga though. All right, my arms are short. I put a block behind me when I do twist so that I have something to put my hand on. It helps me get a little bit further into the twist. This one is called Half Lord of the Fishes. Do not ask me why. I have no idea why that's called this. And its Sanskrit name is Ardha Matsyendrasana. So yeah, we're going to do this. You can bring your, first of all, sit in staff pose. Let's do that first. Let's get into the foundation pose. The foundation pose is staff pose, Tadasana. And we're going to sit up straight, and we're going to make sure, again, there's a string on the top of our head that's pulling our head and our spine straight up towards the ceiling, okay? And again, if that is difficult for you, sit on something. Put something underneath you to take that pressure out of this area to sit up straight. And sometimes I have like a little extra stuff here, so it helps to sit on something as well. Then we're going to bring one of our legs in, and you can keep it just like this if you can do it. If you're in a chair, you're just going to be twisting. If you want to bring a leg up just to work that, you can, but you're not going to be able to do this twist quite from the chair in the way this is. If you really want to do this, if this is not enough, you're like, that's easy, Dana, I can bring my leg up there. You can also flip it over the side here and do it this way. I'm going to keep mine here, okay? So now you're going to take, I've got my right leg in. I'm trying to do this backwards. I've got my right leg in. Take your left hand, put it on the outside of that knee, okay? You're going to now take your right hand and place it behind you, and you're going to breathe in and straighten back up, and then as you exhale, you're going to twist. And I want you to take 4 or 5 deep breaths, remembering as I inhale, I'm stretching. As I'm exhaling, I'm twisting. Now pay attention to that left leg. Is it tensing up? Is it trying to do some of the work? It shouldn't be. If it is, can you relax it? Because our body tries to compensate a lot. And as we do yoga, we begin to notice, where's my body compensating? And then we try to say, no, don't compensate. I want this other part of my body to get stronger or stretchier or both. Okay, we're going to turn forward. Take a deep breath. Shake out those legs. Now, we're going to pull in your left leg. Okay? And we're going to think about straightening back up again. We're going to take our right hand, put it on the outside of our left knee, take our left hand and put it behind us. And then we're going to inhale in, I'm noticing that my shoulders are hiked up here. I'm going to try and drop those. Inhale and then exhale and twist. Take 2 or 3 more breaths. Notice your shoulders. Are they hiking up? If they are, can you relax them? What is that right leg doing? Is it tensing up? Can you relax it? And then twist and come forward again. And let's see here. I am in Dana's living room. I am. All right. That's where we are for the time being, is in my living room. Okay, so now we're going to get on our knees. I have really scrunchy, crunchy knees. And so I'm going to put a blanket underneath my knees. I got to move some of my stuff out of the way. And I don't want it to be too high, because now we're going to do a true cat-cow. So before we were doing kind of a seated cat-cow, and now we're going to work into a full cat-cow. So if you're in a chair, you just do the seated cat-cows again, and just see, can I do a little bit more? Can I feel it? How's it feeling now that I'm stretched out a little bit more? Okay, so you want your hands directly underneath your shoulders. It's a tabletop position. We want our knees underneath our hips. So we don't want to be way out like this, where our knees are out here, and we don't want them right next to each other. We want them hip width apart, okay? And then as we do, and then don't get up on your toes. I have a tendency, I should probably do this sideways so you guys can see it better. Well, except for the other stuff you can. So don't put your toes underneath. Keep your feet flat as we do this, okay? And we're just gonna give our spine a little love by doing some cows and some cats. Inhaling and exhaling. Do them at your own pace. And after you have 3 or 4 of those done, take your right foot and put it behind you and put your toes underneath. So like, can you guys see this? So like this, right? Our arms are still going to be underneath our shoulders here, and push back into it. You'll get a little calf stretch most likely, or maybe it's just me because I have the tightest calves on the planet. And now we want to take that right leg and we're going to swing it around to this side. If you're in a chair, just try swinging your leg around a little bit. Don't go all the way off the side of the chair. Just swing it around a little bit and play with your ankles a little bit if you're on the chair, and give your ankles some love, okay? And make some movements. And I'll work on seeing what I can do for you guys in the chair to make it a little different. You may want to stretch back. What feels good? You can stretch forward. You can do cat-cow here. What feels good for you as you have that out? All right, we're going to do a little balancing here. So work your way up. All right, we're going to breathe in. And I want you to notice, look, other way, shoulder, hip, knee. It's in alignment. So try to feel that. Try to feel that alignment in your body. We're going to come up, and we're going to put our hand down on this leg, and we're going to stretch over. Again, remember, stretching is not this. Stretching is, can I touch the corner of the room where the wall meets the ceiling? Is my shoulder hiked up here? Bring it down. Am I breathing? Okay, come back up. Let's just do a quick counter stretch the other direction. And then come back to center, put our hands back down, and swing our leg back around. What do you need? Ask yourself, do I need to move this hip around a little bit? Give it some love. What does it want? Okay, now we're going to do that on the other end. So we're going to take our left foot and put it back and stretch. Get some calf stretches. I know whenever I haven't done yoga for a while, I start to go, oh yeah, there's a muscle there. Or sometimes I get a new yoga instructor that has a new exercise, and I'll be like, what is that muscle? Now we're going to take it off to the side and stretch and just move in whatever direction feels good for you. And then walk yourself up. Get a little bit of balancing in here. We're going to stretch our hands up. And we're going to go over here to the left. Are you breathing? Where are your shoulders? Am I stretching in the right way? Where do I feel this? We're going to come up and just do a quick counter stretch in the other direction. Come back up to center and come back down to our hands and knees. Now we're going to do a quick ab exercise. If you're in the chair, you're just going to be lifting your knees off the ground. You guys know bird dog? Ever done that one? Where what you do is we're going to take let's take our right leg and stretch it back and balance. If you're on the chair, you're just going to lift it. Lift that right leg. If you're on the floor and you want to practice your balance a little more, paying attention to your abs, are you engaging your abs? Lift your left hand up. So the opposite hand, looking at the floor, so that your spine is straight from your neck to your lower back. Do you want a little more ab work? Do you want to move your arm and your leg out to the side like that? If you don't, stay where you are. And then come back to center and put your arm and your leg down. Now let's do that on the other side. So let's lift our left leg up and stretch it back. Paying attention to your hips. If you're on the chair, you're just lifting that knee up and holding it as long as you can. Now let's lift the opposite arm up. And then if you want a little more ab work, go off to the side. That side's much harder for me. And then bring it back. And then place it down. You challenge me to do 100 squats. Yeah, my knees won't do 100 squats. Okay. So now I want you to get into a child's pose. If you're sitting on a chair, you're just going to round over your knees. If you're on the floor, you're going to put your legs. I like to put my knees a little more than hip width distance apart. Some people like to do child pose this way. Either way is fine, whichever way feels good. You don't even have to do this if you don't want to, but this is a counter pose to some of the stuff that we've been doing in child's pose is a resting pose. And here's what's great about child's pose is you can always go into it no matter where you are in yoga. You're like, my body needs to rest. Stop, go into child's pose. It's a great restorative position. So we're gonna put our chin and chest as much as we can on the floor. Some modifications to that. Some people love to put a bolster or blanket in front of them and just round over that. You can even do that if you are in a chair. You can put a pillow on you and round over the pillow. It's good for our body. You can stretch your hands forward. You can stretch your hands back. Both are good for your shoulder too. So stay there in child's pose for a couple of breaths. And when you're done, come back up on your knees. We're going to do a quick back bend posture that's called camel. okay? So if you're up now, if you're in the chair, you're just gonna do some quick back bends, maybe putting your hands on your hips and looking back like that. For camel, what we're going to do is you're gonna be acting like, take your hands, if your shoulders will allow you. If it doesn't, you can keep your hands on your hips. And like you're putting them in the back pockets of your jeans, okay? So we've got our hands in the back pockets. That opens up our chest more. So it's a really, really good chest opener. So now what we're going to do, and here's the tricky part. This is not about leaning back as far as you can and seeing how far you can go back that way, right? This is about stretching up. And then again, I'm going to try and look at the corner where the wall meets the ceiling as I look back. But I want to stay stretched out. And then I can start to move back a little bit more. And you'll feel it. You may feel this in your quads as you do this. And once you get back there, I want you to spend 2 or 3 breaths. It's really hard to breathe in this position, but where can you breathe? Try not to just drop your head all the way back. It's not about that either. And then come back up and breathe. I don't know, I just started sweating while I was doing that one. That one's one I need to do more often, apparently. All right, let's do that one more time. And if you are a yogi, you know that you can actually take your arms and grab your ankles or your heels if you want to. And then come back up, release your arms, shake your arms out, go back into child's pose, and take a few breaths in child pose. And let's get that counter stretch on our back going. And once you've taken a few breaths, we're actually going to end up on our stomach, except for those of you in a chair, you will not be lying flat on your stomach. And I'm going to have to move back. Okay, here we go. All right. So I want you to lay. I'm going to show you a couple of terms here. So as we go, if I say go on alligator arms, it's just your hands one on top of the other, and you're lying down like this. Okay. But what we're going to do first is a baby cobra, because we're doing gentle yoga, so we don't want to do a full cobra today. We're going to be doing baby cobras. So a baby cobra is lying down on the ground, and you're going to put your hands underneath your shoulders. And here's the trick. We're actually not using our arms really to pull ourselves up. We're going to be using our back muscles, okay? So notice as you pull yourself, you should be able to do this and stay in the same place while you're doing this, okay? So notice when you get up here, can you do this? Number one, are you clenching your butt? If you are, can you do this and relax that? Because that'll get us more into strengthening the back muscles as opposed to those glutes and the hamstrings. So we're really trying to use those back muscles, okay? And now go back down to the mat. Take a couple of breaths. Now come back up in cobra and try again. Yoga is very mental, and in any one pose there are a dozen things that you can pay attention to. And so focusing on that can be the challenge in and of itself. And sometimes going back to the basics and doing something less is better for learning more or that next step of growth in something. I took my glasses off, so now I can't read. Okay, and then come back down. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you guys. Release from cobra. Okay, this next one is a really big shoulder opener, and I'm going to try and talk people on a chair on how to do this one, okay? So let me do the floor one first, and then I'm going to let you do it at your own pace while I talk the people on a chair through a different way. We sit at desks, and if you are a streamer, you sit in front of computer screens all the time. I know, because I do that too. This is a great shoulder opener to undo all of that, hey, I'm sitting in front of a monitor stuff. So you're gonna lie down and you're gonna put your hands in a T, like this. Okay? Now I want you to take that left hand and I want you to put it right by your shoulder. Now I want you to take your left leg and I want you to start turning onto your right side. And you can put that leg down here next to your leg. Can you guys see that? Or you can put it behind your leg like that. I want you to try and put your head down in a comfortable place. And you should be feeling, you can use that leg as leverage to get as much or a little stretch. And you should feel that in your right shoulder. Okay? If you're on the chair, to open up, I want you to just take your arms and come out wide. I want you to go behind your back. I want you to clasp your arms, and I want you to try and pull those hands down towards your glute and towards the chair seat. And that will give you a nice stretch through here as well. It's going to be a little bit different stretch than what they're doing on the floor. All right, take a deep breath. On your next breath, come back to center. For those of you in the chair, just do that same thing again, okay? Now, if you're on the floor, we're going to do it the opposite way. We're going to take our right hand and put it by our right shoulder. And we're going to lift that right leg. We're going to start to twist over. And now we've got an arm and a foot to help us have leverage to pull over. You're also getting a nice little spine twist by doing that as well. And take 3 or 4 breaths while you do that. The rug's not flammable, and those are electric candles, so don't worry, controller's in. So, and then come back to center. Okay, so now come back up. Let's see here, where am I? We're gonna go onto our back now. Yeah, let's go on our back. I think we're gonna stay on the floor the entire time today, but next Monday I'll work in some standing postures as well. That we'll do, but I think today we'll just stay on the floor. Okay, so we're gonna go on our back, and you're gonna have to get to a place where maybe you can see me, but hopefully I can talk you through this some, where you don't have to see me. And we're gonna start by stretching our legs. So if you've got that strap or a towel or anything, you might wanna have that close by to do some of these. If you don't have that, you're just gonna hold on to your legs as best that you can. Okay, so we're on our back, and I want you to take your left leg, bring your left knee in to your chest, okay? Your right leg should be long and straight. So think about pushing through that heel of your right foot so that you're trying to touch the wall in front of you with the heel of that foot while you bring your other knee in, and try and pull it towards your shoulder, okay? So it's gonna be out a little bit rather than straight in towards your stomach, okay? And now stretch it up to the ceiling. If you don't have a strap, you can hold on to the back of your leg, don't hold on to the back of your knee. You can hold on to the back of your thigh, the back of your calf. If you've got the strap, put it on the bottom of your foot and gently use that to stretch in. If you're on a chair, put it underneath, put the strap underneath your foot and just gently pull your leg up. But while you're pulling your leg up, I want you to flex that foot. I want you to feel like you're pushing that heel to touch whatever is in front of you, above you, wherever that is, okay? If you're on the floor, I want you to drop that leg off to the right side. If you're on the chair, move your leg off to the I'm sorry, not the right side, the left side. The left side. So we're opening up the hip. And take a couple of deep breaths there. Now, while you're there, can you move your toes towards the ground? If you're on the floor, if you're on the chair, move your toes out. Now move them in towards yourself on the chair or up towards the ceiling if you're on the floor. What we're trying to do is move that hip in its socket. Okay, come back up to the center. Now we're going to cross over our body, still keeping that heel in the whole leg engaged, keeping that heel pushing towards the ceiling. If you're on a chair, you're just crossing over in front of the other leg. If you want more of a back twist and you're on the ground, you can drop that foot all the way to the floor while keeping your left shoulder on the ground. And that'll give you a spine twist there. Okay, come back to center. Release the strap, bend your leg, stretch it in, then stretch it back out on the mat. All right, stay here for a second. Feel the difference between your right and left side right now. Take a couple of deep breaths into your belly. Make sure you're feeling that belly rise. If you're on the floor, put your hands on your belly. Feel your belly rise. Okay, now we're going to do that same set of exercises on the other side. Make sure that your left leg is nice and long, that you're pushing through that heel. Bring your right leg in. Move that knee towards, like you're trying to touch your shoulder with that knee. And then get that strap ready. If you've got a strap or a blanket, put it on the bottom of your foot and stretch it towards the ceiling. Push out through that heel. If that is too much, bend your leg a little bit. You can always bend your knees a tiny bit to take some of the pressure off of the back of the knees especially. Now we're going to drop that down to the right side. Don't go further than you need to because you need to be keeping that other hip and butt cheek on the floor. We want that right side to still, that left side to still be solid on the floor. Okay, so now take those toes and turn them towards the floor. If you're on the chair, you're turning them outside. Now we're going to turn them up towards the ceiling. Take a breath there. Are you still breathing? Make sure you're still breathing. All right, we're going to bring that back up to center. And now we're going to drop that over the other side. So if you're on a chair, you're crossing your right leg in front of your left leg and getting a stretch. Where are you feeling that stretch? And then come back up to center, release the strap, bend your leg, give it a nice pull towards that right shoulder, and then drop it down to the mat. And now feel your body. How does it feel now? Now you've done both sides. Does that right side feel a little bit better now? Okay. Now we're going to do a bridge. And I'll try to catch up on chat here in a second, but let's do a bridge. So a shoulder bridge, there's two different ways you can find them in yoga, and I'm going to do these sideways, okay? We want to tuck our feet in here. And again, if you're in a chair, you're going to do something that's going to give you that back bend feeling. And I need to research. I don't really know how to do a bridge variation on a chair, so I apologize for that. Okay, we want to roll our shoulders down while we're on the mat. We want them to be tucked under. We don't want our shoulders to be like this, right? We want to, so once you lie down, tuck those shoulders under, okay? It's active. It's very, very active. Even if we're just lying here, take your arms and put them on the ground. And then we're just going to lift our hips up. And this is fine. You can just do this, lifting your hips up. If you want a little more, you may want to scoot your feet in a little bit more. Maybe you want to take your hands and clasp them underneath. Maybe you want to grab your ankles. But just staying right here is good. Especially if you feel tightness in your quads and your hips, this is where we can work. Now, as we go down, I want you to think about dropping one vertebra at a time, okay? One vertebra at a time until your whole body is down. The slowest person here to do that wins. The faster you do it, it's fine, but I want you to do it slow because I want you to feel those vertebrae in your body, okay? So we're going to do that again. We're going to lift our hips up and stay here. Can you lift them a little bit more? Are you breathing? Where are your shoulders? Are you breathing into your stomach? Or your belly, really. We don't breathe into our stomach. And now we're going to release that one vertebra at a time until we're resting. That's an awesome pose. It stretches so much of your body when you do that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a quick spine twist. Again, in your chair, pick some sort of twist to get that to move your body. We're going to actually really flop over and do some twist here if this feels good for you. So let's lie back down. You're probably lying on your back. I need to lie back down, okay? So I'm going to bring my left knee back in. And again, stretch that other leg. The leg that's on the floor, we want to stretch that long. So that's our right leg right now. Now I'm going to take my right hand. I'm going to place it on the outside of my left knee. And I'm going to guide that over my body. Okay? I want it to touch the floor. This is the way I would like to do mine. If you don't want to touch it to the floor, you do not have to. Okay? I like to do this and stretch this out. You decide what your body needs right now, and you're doing this twist. Some people may want to keep that that left shoulder on the ground and only take their leg over as far as they can. What feels good to you? What does your body need? We're kind of coming to the end of this first practice of gentle yoga on Twitch. So if a twist isn't what you need, if you need something else, do that. I want you guys to start recognizing what your body needs. And I'm going to untwist right now. Each time, especially at the end and the beginning, what is your body saying it needs to get into the yoga practice? What is it saying it still needs to get out of the yoga practice? So let's move that right knee in if you're doing twist with me. We take our left hand, put it on the outside of that leg, and pull it over our body gently. And breathe here. Take a second to notice your body. What else do you still need? If you're in the chair, notice your body. Close your eyes for a second and just breathe. Notice what your body needs. Then give that to your body. And then come back to center. Okay. Happy baby is is typically a pose that people do before they go into Shavasana, which is our final resting pose of yoga. I'm going to show you what it is. You don't have to do it. You can do something else that feels good to you. Happy baby is bending your knees, and then you grab your ankles, or you can grab your feet, or you can grab toes. And basically, you're pushing your feet down. So you're getting a real good hip compression by doing this. And some people like to do it like this. Some people like to do this. But that's happy baby. And then you can kind of roll around on your back a little bit while you're doing that. Give your back a little love and massage. But if you don't want to do that, that's too hard. You can actually just bring your knees in. This is actually another pose that's often done at the end of yoga called wind relieving. And you can rock around on that. And now I want you, if you're on the floor, I want you to lie down and find a comfortable position. Do not skip this part of yoga. Yoga is about working and resting. It's about finding balance in our body. So at the end of a yoga, we always do what's called Shavasana. And it's just a resting pose, okay? A lot of people I know have t-shirts that say, I do yoga for the Shavasana. It's a moment in our day where we can take stock of what's going on in our body. We can let our mind rest. We can focus on breathing, whatever it is. So I want you to lie down in whatever position is comfortable for you. You may want to put a blanket under your knees or under your feet and elevate your feet. You may want to put a blanket underneath your neck or head. Just find a very comfortable pose. And I'm going to be quiet here for a moment or two for you to sit and really get in your mind. I'm going to catch up with chat so that I can maybe answer those. After Shavasana, I'll bring you out of Shavasana and we'll do another big community hug and breath and in the practice. But I'm going to hang around for any questions, or if you said, I'd really like to see this, or for those of you, especially in chair or anybody who needs modifications, letting me know that as well. So go ahead and lie down. This is Shavasana. Just sit there and let your body relax. Nothing in your body should be tensing. And if you're in a chair, just close your eyes and put your arms in a very comfortable position, maybe putting them on your knees or in your lap. And as you're in this pose of rest, okay, I want you to notice your face. Are you closing your eyes really tight? Can you let them relax? Are you holding tension around your mouth, in your cheeks, in your jaw? Can you let that relax? Can you breathe into those areas? Moving down to your shoulders, are you holding tension in your shoulders? If you are, can you breathe into your shoulders and let the tension start to seep away? Notice your fingers. Are you holding any tension in your fingers or your hands or your wrist? Can you take a deep breath? Let that go. What about your neck and your chest? What do you feel when you pay attention to that? Can you breathe some of that tension away? What about your shoulders? We move down to our stomach, our ribs, our lower back. Are we holding any tension there? Take a second, breathe into it. Focus on letting go. What about our hips? What do you feel in your hips? Do you need to let something go there? Moving down your legs, noticing the front of your legs, the back of your legs, your knees, your calves. Your ankles, your feet, your toes. Take a second to breathe. Notice your breath rising and falling. Find your natural breath pattern. I'm going to read you a few things about self-compassion that you can hopefully take into your week. These are the things I'm going to be taking into mine, and I share them with you. If you want to do it as well, it's okay to feel whatever I'm feeling. I deserve to treat myself with the same compassion I give to others. I am allowed to be lenient with myself. I am allowed to go easy on myself in times of stress. I am doing the best that I can with the resources that I have. I am choosing to love myself unconditionally. Mistakes are only human, and I expect to make mistakes. I am patient with myself. I am a work in progress, and that's okay. I am always enough. I don't have to achieve it all. I am allowed to just be. I accept my faults and quirks. I am perfectly capable. I trust that I make the best decisions possible. Change is hard, so I'll go easy on myself when I'm going through it. Spending time with myself isn't selfish, it's essential. I am showing up for myself today. I am proud of the person I am becoming. All right, if you're on your back, turn to lie on your side briefly, maybe in a fetal position if that's comfortable. Take a couple of breaths there, and then push yourself up into a seated position, back into easy pose, Sukhasana. And once you get there, take a second to breathe. Think about what your intention is for the week. Think about how you can be kind and gracious to yourself. How you can make sure that you are practicing ahimsa, or non-harming, non-violence towards yourself and others. And now take your arms and sweep them up and take a deep breath in. Bring them down in prayer pose as you exhale. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you so very much for being here for my very first Twitch yoga stream. I really appreciate it so very much. At the end of yoga, we often say namaste, which just means thank you and I honor you. So, namaste. Thank you guys. I know you guys did awesome. I can't see you, but I really know that you did. And you know why? Because you showed up. And the first rule of yoga is show up on your mat. And if you show up on your mat, anything is possible. And here, let me come a little closer. I have missed a gazillion chats, I know, that we've gone here. Um, Thank you so much, Kanara. And thank you guys. Thank you, Whiskey Unicorn. I'm so glad so many of you are here today, and I will be doing this again on Monday. And I'm going to just stick with Mondays for January and then kind of reassess at the end of the month of where I want to go with this. I'm excited to be doing this with you guys. So, again, we have a Discord. I have a Discord if somebody wants to put that in there for me. And feel free to join that. There is a yoga info. It's just called Yoga Info. It's very generic right now, but I'm hoping to build more of a community around that. So if there are any questions, you can contact me in the million ways that you can contact me. But if it's something that would be nice to share with the community, I'd love for it to be in the Discord. Yeah, DJ, I just finished. My hope is to keep this around around an hour and a half going forward, to give us some time to ease into the yoga practice, and then has some time for anybody who has any questions or has something that they want to talk about. Like I said, today's was really about setting our intentions and really about self-compassion as well. I'm looking up at this camera. Wait, you're here. I even changed the camera and I'm looking at the wrong one. I need somebody to tell me which camera to look at, on all that. You just sat down. You know what, DJ? Here's the cool thing. DJ, I'm going to put the VOD up so you can watch the VOD if you want to. We made lots of mistakes, and by we, I mean me, and that's okay. It's my first one. So put all the yoga words in the Discord for you. Okay, Miss Sarah Lynn, I will try my best to get a lot of those in there, but definitely ahimsa, yama, niyama. So just kind of as a recap, asana is the practice of the postures and the movements in yoga, and it's really the third step in yoga. And the first two steps are called the yamas, which are how we relate to the people outside of us. Or some people will call it restraint. And then the other one is niyamas, which is kind of self-discipline and introspect. How do we live our life in a genuine and thoughtful way? So after that, we go to pranayama, which is breath. I incorporate that in. Breathing is necessary, right? So why not start at the beginning by learning how to breathe better? By the way, if you have anxiety especially, breathing is the absolute best way to start bringing that down. Oh, Cherry, thank you so much for that gifted sub from Miss Sarah Lynn. Miss Sarah Lynn, you're going to have to come up with a word for me to put on your rock. So for subs for the month of January, I like to do intention rocks. So I have everybody who does a sub gets a painted rock with their name on one side and their word for the year on the other side, and then they go into my garden at the end of January where I grow all of my herbs. So, and I'll put some reading material if anybody's interested in learning a little bit more about yoga. Those all first four things are really about how we relate to the outer world, and then after that comes the things that are more meditative, concentrative, and enlightenment going forward. We'll talk about those as we go. So I'm curious for you guys' feedback. I know we need to work on camera angles a little bit, but is there anything in particular that you would like to see in yoga? If you can't think of it now, let me know later. I really do want your feedback in this because I don't have a whole lot of places to pull information on how to do this on a social media where I'm trying to chat and be there for people. so that the mic may need to be moved. I did see that you said that. I'm thinking, Kanara, actually of getting a better mic for this. This is really not a good mic for moving around in all different postures. So probably one of those little mics that goes around the head and stays right here would be a better choice on that. So I'm going to start looking into that, but that may not happen right away. I get that. Or a stationary mic, that's also an option as well. That's a good point, Miss Sarah Lynn. I appreciate that. Well, thank you, Kanara. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And all of the follows, there were so many follows during the stream. If you're still here and you follow, know that I am thankful and grateful for all of those follows that you gave me. Thank you, Oscar. I just can't look up and look at all of the follows and don't want to kind of keep stopping the flow of what's going on. What about the alerts? So we turned off all of the channel point and other kind of things that were going on. Should I turn the sound off on the other alerts, or was that okay for you guys? That didn't bother you guys? Thank you, Kanara. Oh, you guys are so sweet. You turn off all the alerts. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do, Kanara. Because it kind of takes me off my flow, but I'm more concerned about you guys. Know that my word for the year is health, and for January, my word for the stream is health. And so we'll be streaming again on Thursday at 5 o'clock Central Time. I'll be with Robbie. He's actually here today, but he's being very quiet in the corner because he didn't want to have to do yoga with me. But he helped me set all of this up this morning. Whew. Thank goodness, because I was a little worried about that one. But we'll be streaming, and we're actually going to be making it's actually our indulgence day. I'm trying to eat healthier, but Thursdays are indulgent days. I don't want to call them cheat days, because cheat days implies you're doing something wrong, where it's okay to indulge every once in a while. And Sundays are going to be meal prep for the week. And I'm going to be doing healthier meals, but I'll talk through if you don't want it to be quite so healthy, if you want other options on how to do those things. So that's kind of my plan for January. And Robbie and I are hoping to maybe do a couple of IRL streams while we're walking. So the follow alert was a little annoying. Okay, so we'll turn off the word. Your word is try. That's all we're all do. You know what? Trying is practice. And in yoga, no matter how many years of yoga you're doing it or how many hours of training you have, it's always your yoga practice. Always, 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 always. So I love trying new things. It means you get to be a beginner, and it means that you get to make mistakes and nobody looks at you funny. So I love trying new things and just making a lot of mistakes. I learn more from my mistakes than I do from my successes. Nah, I'm a stay. Thank you, Aspen. You know what, Aspie, my daughter got me a cookbook that's the Snoop Dogg cookbook. So haven't looked a ton through it yet. My kids were laughing at my Snoop Dogg imitation because it wasn't very good. But it's the first time I've done it, so it's good. Couldn't do a whole lot, but it was nice and relaxing. Oh, you know what, Miss Sarah Lynn, if you're breathing, and if you're just concentrating on your breathing and you're noticing your body and what's going on with your body and any little movement that you make with your body, you're doing yoga. You're doing yoga. That's it. Serenity is yours. Okay, well, I got to write that down or I'll forget. Serenity. Hippie is serenity. Okay, so music-wise, balance for ginger tea. That's nice. I like balance. Balance. Mine says create balance, right? Yes, any kind of thing that you do, right? And it's the same with eating in any part of our life and having an intention. So we're going to have an indulge day, but I'm going to find a way to also bring that health into my indulge day without, cheating myself out of the indulge. So you put your word at the bottom of that last, what is it? Intention. I like it. When we move with intentionality through life, we're we're typically more genuine in who we are. Thank you, Linux Switch, for that follow. Thank you so much. So again, honor your body whenever we're doing anything. You don't have to do what you're doing. My favorite yoga classes are when you look across the class and there are people doing all sorts of different things. That means that the teacher is student-centered and not teacher-centered. Excuse me. I don't need my class to look perfect. I don't need everybody to be in unison and doing the same thing. I want people to, when I see somebody making a modification for themselves, I'm really, really very happy about that. That means that's growth. It's growth to say, I need to compare myself to everybody else. No, you don't. You need to honor who you are in that. You're going to sign off. Okay. Yep. We'll be in the kitchen on Thursday at 5. Hello, Linux Witch. How are you? Happy New Year, Supernatural Writer. And just know that during yoga, I'm probably not going to be doing a bunch of shout outs. And it's not because I don't love you guys, because obviously I love you, Supernatural Writer and Hippie. And Kanara's in here, and Bravewood and Darth, and all these people who are all amazing streamers. It just would be kind of getting in the way of the yoga. You know what I mean? All right. Any questions for me? Any concerns? Anything you want a modification on? On that? You're doing well enough? Nice. Nice. Well, if you got, oh, thank you, Cherry. You're amazing, Cherry. You're amazing. So keep this in mind. What I plan on doing, this is our first one, so we ran a little bit longer, but my plan is to have it be about an hour and a half long, with about 45 to 60 minutes of yoga in there. We'll get onto our feet next time for some foundational poses like mountain pose and some stretches through that and forward bends. But we're going to keep it really, really gentle. And I may share with people who have done some more yoga, some ways that they probably already know, but that they can do more on it. But don't ever, ever, ever feel pressure. Try to let that go. If you're feeling pressure to do more when you feel like you're getting enough where you are, take a moment and make that your priority at the moment. Is like, why do I feel pressure? Can I let go of that pressure? So all of that. There's my Discord. Thank you, Ginger Tea. Yes, catch the VOD. I'll have that up. And the Discord, you can post, there's a whole bunch of different things in there. That's my regular Discord one, but there is a yoga info one. I'll take suggestions on what we can change it to, maybe Yoga Namaste or something. I don't know. And questions, all of those things can go in there. I'm going to post some of the words that I used today for those of you who are new to yoga and want to explore them like Sarah does. And I'll post a couple of books that I think are really good for meditation. And from time to time, maybe give you some other books, because there's some amazing people out there in what they write. So, all right. Do we want to look at somebody to rate? Is there anybody on that we can? Ooh, okay. You want to go to Mrs. I hear Mrs. Ruvy's on. Hula's on. Anybody have anybody else that we can go and say hi to and say, hey, we're all pieced out over here. We're all calm. Remember, be kind. All right. How about if we go? How about if we go to Mrs. Ruby? Haven't done that. Let's rate. Oh, Dana TV is on. Is Dana do you see Dana TV on? That Dana chick is on. Oh yes, we'll try to join you later at the diner. Oh no, me. Oh okay. Let's go to Mrs. Ruby. I go into the kitchen. Yes, I'm not going to raid myself, Kanara. Or am I confused because I'm so zenned out right now? We'll wait. We got a thing to do. Poor Robbie. We went out in the car on New Year's Eve, and somebody had put something behind his wheel about that big with a pointy top in it. So as soon as we backed out, it put a giant hole in his tire. So we have to go address that next. So, all right, let's go say hello to Mrs. Ruby. And Kanara is saying that everybody needs to hold hands. So hold hands or give yourself a big hug and say, you did an amazing job today. Remember, showing up on your mat is more than half the battle. So hopefully I will see you here next Monday. But also I could see you Thursday and Sunday at 5. So love you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your lovely energy and time with me. And go out into the world. Be yourself and be kind. Love you. Follow the yoga brick road. You're ready to roll. Lou and you and I are holding pose. Okay, let's go. We're going to go. We're going. Bye-bye. Have a good day.